Hello and welcome to my channel. This is my ADHD life. My name is Jess and I'm here to show you what I ate today. The goal of this video is to kind of give you some ideas for people with ADHD to eat healthier. To give you some background on that, people with ADHD have a lot of trouble with knowing their body cues. A lot of times we kind of, as we grow up, learn to ignore them, and then that results in us doing things like sitting at our desk for 5 hours and then realizing we haven't ever eaten or we need to sleep, things like that. So this video is kind of just showing what I do, especially when I'm dealing with hyperfocus. Hyperfocus is a symptom that comes with a few different kinds of neurodivergence. Diagnosis? I'm gonna say diagnosis. ADHD is one of them. There are others. What hyperfocus is, periods where you can only focus on one thing, even if you need to go and do other things, or you start to like feel stuck on something that you just like, you really need to get it done before you go and do anything else. What that means for people with ADHD is that sometimes we'll do things like we'll start working and we'll sit down and we'll work for a while, and then we might accidentally end up hyperfocused on a single task, and we'll work until it's done, even if it's not our highest priority. Even like small stuff, like you might get hyper focused on online shopping. So you'll sit down and you'll intend to, you know, do some work, and then you'll end up on like the Target website for like 4 hours. It happens to a lot of people regardless of being ADHD. It just tends to happen to us more often. This particularly is focused on giving tips to people with ADHD to kind of work through those situations where they might not be responding to their body, because it's important that we do. So I am starting my day out with, well, to be honest, I've been up for about like 30 or 45 minutes now. I try to eat as intuitively as possible, so I didn't really feel hungry this morning. I still don't really feel hungry, but I also know that something that comes with intuitive eating is making sure you eat. If you know that if you don't eat in the morning, you're gonna feel terrible by 11:30, which I tend to, so I usually have to force myself to eat in the morning, even if I'm, you know, not really a breakfast person. So to give you guys a little peek, I'm gonna start out with this. It's an artisan bake at home loaf. I'm just gonna stick this directly into the oven here. Let me see if I can pick you guys up. Oh, you stick it right on in there. This is hard to do one-handed. I didn't realize. I am just baking that per the instructions on the package, which is 7 to 10 minutes in the oven. I tend to go about 8 minutes. I don't know if my oven is a little bit hot. It might be. So once that's done, I'm just gonna put a little bit of butter on it. And from there, what I like to do is I like to put a little bit of lunch meat on it, preferably ham. This is like a very Parisian style meal. I'm gonna go with meal. And, you know, it's usually not a breakfast. I'm not like a super big breakfast person. So particularly, I'm not really on like an egg person, and you know, a lot of the other things, the wonderful things that come with breakfast, such as pancakes or you know, French toast, take a lot more work, so it's not really something I would do on a weekday. Oh, and it is Monday at, I have no idea what time it is, but that's not the point. It's a Monday. I am working today. I'm, you know, getting ready for my work day. I have a very flexible schedule, especially right now with quarantine. I've been inside since March 11th, so I'm sure you guys are all kind of experiencing some new things, and so am I. And so one of those things is a very flexible work schedule. I have the lunch meat. I also put these little pickles. You can buy them any brand. They're cornichon. If you can't find cornichon, a really good substitute for them is gherkins. What I like to do is, so they're very little, like little guys. So I'm just gonna slice them real thin, because that way they'll sit on the sandwich nicely. And I'll show you guys when I'm done. I got my cornichon, or my gherkins, sliced into thin little like slices. They're not perfect, I don't really care. This isn't going on Bon Appetit. So one of my biggest tips when it comes to having hyperfocus problems is keep it simple. And you know, the old adage, keep it simple, stupid, you know, is one of the most important things to live by, in my opinion. It'll make your life way easier. So my breakfasts tend to be easy to do. This is actually one of the more complicated ones, and you'll see even still, it's not very complicated. It's a piece of bread with some butter and some turkey on it. Oh, I need to tell you guys about the turkey though. Well, okay, I'm gonna finish my tip first and then I'll tell you guys about the turkey. So One of the things that happens with people with hyperfocus a lot is they'll get stuck in tasks. If you're making breakfast for yourself before work and it turns into this whole to-do, and then you're like, oh my God, I've got to do dishes now. And then you end up doing dishes, and you end up doing dishes for like an hour before you're like, oh my God, I should be working by now. That's something that's happened to me already since I've only been in well, I guess I've been in quarantine for a long time. But since I've been in quarantine, it's happened to me a couple of times, and I've kind of realized my employer gives me a lot of flexibility to kind of manage my day however I like. I would prefer to work in the early hours and relax in the late hours. So I do like to keep kind of like a normal 9-to-5 schedule for myself. And so because of that, I tend to try not to get stuck on things early in the morning. And so one of the biggest ways for me to do that is to make my breakfast very simple. So, you know, doing something like this for myself, I'll admit actually this is kind of a little bit of a treat meal. It's not something I eat very often, but it's something that's easy for me to make. I usually do yogurt bowls, or I'll do not cereal by itself, but I'll tend to do cereal with something, fruit in some way. I do a lot of smoothies. What I love about smoothies is that you can kind of get a lot of like vitamin C and a lot of like that nice refreshing feel. That's the bread. Let me get that. You're more likely to eat when you're hyper-focused if you can just like walk over to a cabinet and pull a snack out that you don't have to think about at all. All of that being said, I'm gonna wait for my bread to cool. I'm gonna butter it, and then I'm gonna put the cornichons, and I'll show you with the turkey and everything. Oh, the turkey! I need to tell you guys about the turkey. Okay, well, I've got a little bit of cooling time, so now instead of doing dishes when I'm waiting for my bread to cool, I can tell you guys stories, so that's nice. So I have been in quarantine, as many other people around the United States have been, and I'm very fortunate to have the ability to be in quarantine rather than being like an essential worker, having to go out to my office every day for whatever reason. So I've ordered Amazon Fresh a few times, you know, just like needed a few things that I couldn't get at my local grocery store. My local grocery store is a Cermak produce. It's really, really tiny. I can't get a lot of the things I can normally get at other places. So I tried to order ham, which I said I usually prefer to have ham on this meal particularly. So I tried to order like ham lunch meat. And so I put in my order, it arrives, I'm like, oh great. And I'm like, why is this one bag so heavy? Why does it have cardboard supporting it? Like, this is like a weird thing. And so I opened up the bag. I received, instead of like a half a pound of like sliced deli ham, the entire piece of turkey deli meat. It was fully wrapped. It was like it had just arrived. Like one of my friends, she used to work at Mariano's, and she was like, yeah, that's at least 15 pounds of turkey. So I didn't receive ham either, which is also kind of sad. And it was also honey glazed turkey, which I don't personally very much like honey glazed lunch meats. I think they read a little bit too sweet for me, but I'm trying to make the best of it. I froze some of it, to be honest. So I've got this, which is like, I just kind of sliced it with my knife and tried to make like vague deli slices. They're not very good, nor are they very thin. And then I've got 2 big things of like cubed turkey lunch meats, because I was just like, oh my God, what am I gonna do with this? I gotta do something. So I cubed a bunch of it so I could put it into salads, and it's kind of a mess. But that's the story behind the turkey and why I'm using turkey in this instead of ham. My bread is still pretty warm, so I think what I'm gonna show you guys, I'm gonna show you guys how I make my cold brew. Well, not how I make my cold brew, but how I make my coffee in the morning, I guess. So start it with ice. I like a lot of ice on my cold brew. You guys are about to see the biggest motivator I have for ordering on Amazon Fresh. This, which is my favorite cold brew I think I have ever had. It is organic. I didn't even realize that, but it's the Chameleon cold brew concentrate. It's probably like 4 to 6 decent sized cups of coffee. So it is like a little bit of a treat, which is good for me, entirely because I am someone who drinks too much coffee. I will be up late at night because of it. I'm just gonna pour myself a little bit of this, and oh Jesus, I got it everywhere. I think I've spilled like 3 things since I started doing this. I'm only on breakfast, so that's good. I personally like to have cream in my coffee. That's like a big thing for me. So this is just like a vanilla bean creamer. You probably saw that this is like a vanilla coffee. This has a very strong vanilla flavor. So what I actually usually do with this coffee is I put sweet cream in it. So just straight sweet cream, preferably with as little sugar as possible for me personally. And you know, the reason I do that is because one, I just love coffee and cream, with the vanilla coffee and then the sweet cream, oh my God, it just tastes like you're drinking a dessert, and I love it so much. You know, like sometimes you just kind of need that sort of thing first thing in the morning, or, you know, in the middle of the day, or once you've been working for 5 hours and it's 3 p.m. and you're crashing for whatever reason, which actually, no, I'm gonna backtrack on that. Don't drink coffee if you're tiring out during work. This is a tip. It's not related to ADHD. It's for everyone. Don't drink coffee. Pro tip, go get a snack. If you can, do a couple of jumping jacks and then eating a little something, preferably something with some carbs and some protein. I had so many people in college who would be like, this coffee is my breakfast. And I'd be like, that's not really good for you. Like, especially now, I know so much more about like health and fitness and wellness. Like, it's really, really important that if you are feeling that crash, you're feeling tired, you're way better off going and getting like some Greek yogurt than you are drinking a cup of coffee. I know that's kind of how our culture is though. You know, we've kind of got that 9 to 5, drink coffee all day. That's like the vibe, I feel like, at a lot of places. That's about how much cream I put into it. I like it a little bit like lighter, like a nice light brown. Oh, that's so good. Anyway, I think my bread is finally cool enough that I can work with it, yeah. So when I'm doing this, so this is how the bread looks after I've baked it. This is real simple. I don't eat it all at the same time. So I'll eat them like half at a time, little like halfy sandwiches. See, you know, I said that I was eating late, and then I talked to you guys so much that now I'm eating especially late. This happens to me sometimes, it's fine. Well, I will say one of the biggest things, since this is like a video focused on hyperfocus, absolutely by no means, if you have problems with hyperfocus and it's something that happens to you all the time, do not sit down at your desk until you have eaten something, please. Just for your health and safety and my want for you to be healthy and safe. Morning, I know not everyone's hungry in the morning, but you know, if you sit down and you're like, all of a sudden you're like super hyper focused on, you know, whatever you're doing, whether it's for work or for a personal project, and then all of a sudden like you've spent just absolutely all this time working and suddenly it's noon and you haven't eaten anything all day and you've been up since 7 a.m. It's just not good for you. So I'm taking about this much butter. But yeah, that's my PSA and my want for you all is that you are healthy and happy. That's one big thing, which is a big part of the reason I'm doing these videos. Is I want everyone with ADHD to know that they can thrive, especially if you've like recently been diagnosed or like you've been diagnosed for a while, but you haven't really had the means to like deal with it in any way. I'm sorry, I'm looking down so I don't like cut myself with this knife. I am just using like a bread knife for this butter. You can do that. It's easy. Just that way you don't have to dirty another knife. Like, I don't know. Yeah, so I want everyone to be healthy and happy. I want them to live a long, fulfilling life. And, you know, one of those things that can make that really hard for people with ADHD is like making sure that they're keeping themselves healthy. We have a lot of problems with impulsivity and a lot of problems with hyperactivity. And, you know, sometimes cooking isn't your forte. Sometimes it's not something you're really interested in, which can be really hard for someone who has ADHD. So it's you know, one of those things I really want to share with you guys, and I really want you guys to know that like eating food is important. You know, even if you're not cooking yourself a 5-star meal, like at least eat something. I'm momming you a little bit, I apologize. So I've buttered this bread. It looks very nice. I'm gonna take my little gherkins and I'm just gonna or cornichon, and I'm just gonna like lay them out right here. The reason I called this meal very Parisian earlier, and the reason for that is it is 100% just like a thing that French people eat like on a regular basis. They'll eat like a nice baguette, some butter, a little bit of ham. It's usually ham. It's not usually, like I said, it's not usually turkey. I'm a victim of turkey circumstances. I am putting the cornichon along this is the lid of the bread, I guess you could say. And then I'm also gonna put the turkey that I have on that. So just like right on top of the cornichon. That's more so I can actually like get the sandwich closed and less about anything else. So obviously I am giving you permission to rip this idea. Take it, do whatever you want with it. I would absolutely love to see photos. So I have an Instagram if you guys are interested at all in following me. It is my ADHD lifestyle. I could not get my ADHD life on Twitter or Instagram. I didn't look before I made the YouTube channel, so I was like, whatever, this is a good name for the YouTube channel, so I'm gonna keep it. If you guys make anything that I make, or you're experiencing similar things as me, please feel free to just like drop a pic or send me a message. I would love to hear from you all. Like I said, I'm really, one of the big things with this channel is I really want to help people with ADHD and let them know that they can thrive. So if you are thriving, please let me know. I would love to hear about it. So this is my little sandwich top with my turkey and my, as you can see, these beautiful little cornichons. And then I just, lace. Now I got this good little sandwich, right? Oh, I'm so excited about this. Let's go. Oh. Good. I've talked to you guys a lot. That was my breakfast. I'm sorry I'm talking with food in my mouth. I'm gonna let you guys go. I'll see you later at lunch. Hello and welcome back. I actually made a little bit of a mistake. I said that I was gonna come back at lunch. I totally forgot that I usually eat a snack between breakfast and lunch. But this is just a little bit of a snack that I wanted to share with you guys. It's something simple and something easy. It involves the turkey again, the dreaded turkey, because I have so much of it, so I need to eat it. But I've just got like a little bit of Sabra hummus and some pita crackers. Something I forgot to mention earlier too is I actually take a daily women's daily vitamin. This is a big deal for anyone, in their life in general. I would highly suggest, especially if you are a woman. Let me backtrack slightly. If you are assigned female at birth, I should say, not if you're necessarily like a woman, however you identify. If you are menstruating, you probably need slightly more iron than someone who does not menstruate. And I've been iron deficient in the past. It is very not fun. You feel so terrible. I'm also in a place where I am just prone to being vitamin D deficient. So I always make sure that I am taking vitamin D. I was vitamin D deficient at one point as well. Those initial like vitamins that they give you if you are deficient are like huge horse pills. So taking one of these a day is a very good idea. I also take them because I don't get a lot of omega-3 fatty acids or omega-6s in my diet. I don't eat a lot of nuts and I don't eat fish at all, basically. So it's just something that I try to keep in mind since I know there are deficiencies in my diet. That being said, I'm not a registered dietitian. Please see a doctor before you start taking anything, even just like a regular multivitamin. Talk to your doctor. It's usually like the best way to go. That way you don't accidentally over vitamin or under vitamin. Anyway, so this is my little snack. I did want to share a little snack time tip for you guys. Something that I try to keep in mind when I'm having hyperfocus problems is I try to keep snacks within reach. So obviously I went and got this out of my kitchen. This kind of follows the keep it simple, stupid rule. All I had to do was put this turkey on this plate and then grab these. Something I usually have like just hanging about my desk is a bag of goldfish. When I am hyperfocusing, I'll still look at something that's within my sight line and I'll pick it up and I'll eat it while I work. So just, something to keep in mind if you, need to keep something around, just keep it on your desk. I would say the same thing with water. A lot of people, tons of people dehydrate really easily for various reasons. I love this little thing. It's a little cactus with a cactus flower. But just like keep something on your desk with some water in it. have it around at all times. Same thing with snack foods when it comes to people who hyperfocus. Having snack foods around is going to make it easier to make sure that you actually do eat something when you're hyperfocused. I just want to clarify, people who experience periods of hyperfocus do sometimes talk about how this is like an advantage and it's like my ADHD superpower and this and that and the other thing, and that's great. I am so glad if you have found situations that are working for you, if you are in a job that you're really, really passionate about, so you can spend large blocks of time working on it, and let that hyperfocus flow work you through. I will say though that not everyone with ADHD is going to have the same experience. Personally, I tend to hyperfocus to my own detriment. A lot of times I can't control what I hyperfocus on. I mentioned earlier like something about online shopping, I think. I 100% have sat down at my desk totally with every intention to work and spent a couple of hours online shopping. Whether that means I actually buy something is a completely different story. I will just browse for hours. And so something that you should really try to keep in mind is that if you're kind of in that hyper-focus cycle and you're not doing what you need to do, whether it's work related or home life related, I would highly recommend setting alarms on your phone. That can be really, really, really helpful to get you to like snap out of it and be like, oh, my alarm is going off. It's already 11 a.m. I should go do something. Another good way to kind of mitigate this, and you know, a lot of times parents will do this with kids with ADHD, so I will say it kind of sucks sometimes, but just limiting when you can be on the computer, for example, if you know that tends to be a trigger for your hyperfocus, that can be really hard if you work from home or are working on a computer regularly. I personally try to limit what websites I have open. Websites I tend to scroll through, like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn when I'm at work is a big problem for me because I'll just scroll through LinkedIn even if there's no new content. When that happens, setting an alarm is like a really good way to kind of snap you out of it. I would highly suggest just like as you're sitting down, set a timer, set an alarm, something to help you remember that there's time passing and that the passage of time is happening. I know time doesn't exist and that's like a whole thing, but when you have ADHD, it tends to slip away from you very easily, and that's not always what we want to be doing. So just to help you keep conscious, that's a really good tip that I've learned. And so that can be really helpful too for making sure that you're eating or drinking water or going to the bathroom when you are hyper-focused, is setting an alarm. I would highly, highly recommend setting a timer or an alarm saying, hey, you should be eating. I'm trying to give you guys tips that are going to be helpful for you in the future. So if you're experiencing these things, these are things that might be able to help you. Again, I will say I'm not a registered dietitian. I should clarify this as well. I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. I'm actually a content strategist, so I work in marketing. I'm in no way related to the medical field. This is just what works for me, and talking about what is working for me in hopes that maybe someone will see it and say, oh, hey, maybe I can try that. And, they can maybe mimic something that I'm doing that ends up helping them out a lot. So I'm gonna eat my snack, and I will be back for lunch this time. This time, I'm actually not coming back until lunch, promise. Hey everyone. Okay, so I'm back a little bit earlier than I expected for my lunch entirely because I have a meeting at 2 and I totally forgot. So I need to eat before that. So I'm just gonna make a quick and easy lunch. It's mostly leftovers, but I'm also going to make a salad kit. So I'm gonna grab everything for that. So to probably no one's surprise, I am putting more of this turkey into this salad. This salad is a Southwest salad kit. It's just from Whole Foods' is like 365 everyday organic. I buy it because I like the salad kit, not because it's organic. I don't really have any very specific opinions on that. So usually when I get these salads though, I will say they're great because I get like 2 meals out of them. If I'm eating it just by itself for a meal, I'll eat about 2/3 of this bag. And if I'm eating it like with something else, I'll eat like about 1/3. I'm also making, this is some leftover chickpea pasta that also has some Beyond Meat in it. I've been trying a couple of new things. This was one of them. I will say, I don't love the chickpea pasta very much. It tastes a little bit too woody for me. So it's just not for me. I probably won't be buying it again, but that's fine. You know, I tried it and now I know. I always want to encourage people to try new things and do new things. You know, there's a really good example. You know, sometimes you try something and you don't like it. Sometimes you try something and you end up really liking it. You know, whatever works and whatever happens. I'm just throwing a paper towel over this so I can microwave it. Normally I would use something else, but I am kind of in a rush this time. So I've got my salad in here. I am going to throw this dressing. It's like a creamy cilantro dressing on there. It's like just herby and nice. I'm a very big fan. Obviously, I'm a big fan because I eat it, and I eat it pretty often now. See, remember when I said I had a bunch of cubed turkey? Here's the cubed turkey, as opposed to the turkey like lunch meat. Or, well, deli slices. The best deli slices I could get with this knife, which is sitting out from this morning. I have not washed it, so it's just still there. In addition to this, it comes with like this little thing with like pepitas and then some like tortilla stuff, little tortilla strippy things. Sometimes I do end up with a little bit of this left over. I tend to hold on to it because it's really good to put on like sandwiches. You know, like I said before, I don't like to waste food, so I usually will hold on to it in some way. So that's heated up. I am literally just going to toss this salad if I can find. Bet you they're in my dishwasher. Oh no, they're not. Okay. I just usually use a smaller version of these for this. I try not to use the bigger ones to just toss a salad real quick. So yeah, it's really gonna be that simple. I try to keep middle of the day meals pretty easy. Sometimes I will admit, since I'm in my house and I work from home right now and will be permanently after this, I will like cook a full meal in the middle of the day. I don't know, just sometimes I would prefer to cook in the middle of the day as opposed to cook a big meal at night. Any meal I usually make enough that I live alone, so like I make enough for a couple of people and then I'll save the food that I have left over for the next day, hence the chickpea pasta that I just heated up. Last thing I'm doing with this, I am throwing a little bit of Cholula on there. I just think it's nice, like get a little spice. I like hot sauce. It's just something I enjoy. I would say like the biggest, most important thing, I think with anything relating to food and ADHD is a lot of times, like when you have ADHD, you don't like to do things you don't like to do. And like plenty of other people have that, but you know, there's a big difference with us when you have a disorder that limits your executive function. When you do have a disorder like that, sometimes you just gotta like force yourself to do stuff more than other people do. So when something is unfun to you, my biggest suggestion is just, you know, make it fun for yourself. Eat things you like. Don't worry too much about like the health or nutrient content or whatever. If you get too caught up in that stuff, you'll just get way too focused on everything that's going on and you just like won't be able to eat efficiently because you're stuck on that kind of thing. So this is the chickpea pasta, you know, just like a little bit of warmth. I will throw some Parmesan on here usually. I just don't feel like getting it out right now. And then this is the salad. Yeah, like I said, just try to eat things that you like. It's gonna make it a lot easier for you to get everything you need to get done relating to cooking. And when, you know, you're doing something this simple, you're microwaving a little bit of something and you're just kind of throwing together a quick salad that's like pretty much already assembled for you, that makes it a lot better. I'm gonna be honest. Keep all of that in mind. I'm going to go. This is gonna be one of the shorter little what I eat check-ins that I have entirely because I have to eat before this meeting. So see you at dinner. Hi. So, oh boy. Hi. So, I recorded an entire video on Monday where I made a nice beautiful meal for myself and I had it all set up and shown for you guys. First of all, this is my first video that I've ever shot. I have very little experience and most of the experience and help I'm getting is from my editor, who has a lot more experience recording things than I do. I recorded this entire video on Monday when I originally did the rest of the what I eat in a day video. And my mic wasn't on. I recorded like a 40-minute video where my mic wasn't on. And now I'm here, I'm not wearing any makeup, my kitchen is an absolute disaster, and I am not making a great meal right now. I'm gonna eat leftovers for dinner, which made me think that this is an opportunity for me to turn this into a learning experience, not only for myself, but for you guys. One of the things that happens when you have ADHD is like sometimes things just go wrong. Opportunity to talk about something that tends to happen to people with ADHD quite a lot. I experienced this most in my second job out of college. I worked at an ad agency. It was very, very fast-paced. I started there as a project manager, which takes a lot of attention to detail. And I was doing my best and I wasn't getting it. It just wasn't happening. You know, I kind of wanted to call back to that now, since like this is kind of a very similar situation where I was in the middle of something. And I was so caught up in what I was doing and so excited about it that I didn't do it right. So I'm showing you guys what I'm making tonight, which is just some leftovers. I ate Thai food for dinner last night. It's one of my absolute favorite things to eat. I have a local place here in Chicago that I get it from. I had leftover rice, but I made fried rice for lunch today. And now I'm making a little bit of rice, and then I've got, where is it? This is leftover green curry. So I'm gonna do this. I don't know how I'm going to heat this. I'm probably just going to stick it in the microwave, honestly. Something else I kind of wanted to do. This channel is supposed to be about living with ADHD and what that lifestyle is like. So I kind of thought it might be a good idea to show you the state of my kitchen right now, which seems very strange because I've called it a disaster so far, at least once. This video is primarily about eating healthy when you do have ADHD. Now that looks done. Eating healthy when you, have ADHD. This is also my first video. I don't know how long it'll be up because I'll get better at doing these and then I'll probably get embarrassed of this one. And I might eventually, kind of decide that my channel has moved on. And that's fine. But because of that, I kind of wanted to give you guys a look into what my healthy eating and my healthy lifestyle actually is, which is going to be a big kind of, it's going to be a bit of a vulnerability, but I'm okay with that. Nobody's forcing me to do this. I'm making these videos basically for myself. So yeah, so I'm just gonna take it down. So right now my kitchen, sorry, there's a cord right here. It primarily looks like this. Yes, there is a dirty pan in my sink. Like I said, I don't like to do dishes. That's a big thing for me. So yeah, so like that bowl is from my breakfast. Like this, I drank coffee out of today. This had chocolate chip cookies in it that I ate. This was from making the fried rice. Admittedly, that pan that's in there, that one there, that one was from the meal that I made that I was originally going to show you guys. And then, I've got my stove is not the cleanest at the moment. And so, kind of what I wanted to talk about when it comes to this is that, so a lot of people with ADHD feel the need, I feel like a lot of us feel bad when we don't live up to the standards of like potentially our parents' house. My mother was a super clean person. She kept our house absolutely spotless. I don't know how she did it because there were 3 kids and then like later we got dogs when I was in high school. I feel like a lot of times people with ADHD kind of have this problem where, they feel like they need to live up to that standard, and it's really, really hard for us. So I just kind of wanted to say that it's okay. You know, it's okay to make those small mistakes like not turning on your mic, and it's completely okay to have kind of a disaster of a kitchen for a few days because you've been so busy and the state of the world is pretty bad right now for a lot of reasons. And you know, you just don't have the capacity to clean or do things that don't feel good for you right now. I think because of this, I think this has really kind of inspired me to make my next video kind of about cleaning and keeping your space clean when you have ADHD. I'm really just rambling at you. This has turned into what is effectively straight up a vlog, which is funny because I didn't really intend for this to go this way. But I am going to leave you guys with that, that sentiment that it's okay that when you have ADHD, just remember to not be so hard on yourself when you're having bad executive function days, when you're sitting on the couch and telling yourself you need to go do laundry or clean your kitchen and you're just not doing it because you can't make yourself move. It happens. It happens to us a lot more than it happens to other people. There's been talk in the ADHD community for a while now, and I've seen people like in the community say this, and I've seen even doctors say this, but I'm gonna just say I'm no expert on this. This is just kind of things that I've seen. A lot of people wish that ADHD wasn't called ADHD, that it wasn't called attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Instead, a lot of them really wish it was executive function deficiency disorder. I think it's EFDD. And for me personally, I feel like that does very much way further explain what it's like to have ADHD. I have problems with executive function. I'm not super hyperactive. I was diagnosed with primarily inattentive, meaning that I tend to like daydream and be in my own head, but I'm not necessarily like moving. I am kind of fidgety though, I'll admit, like that does come with it. I'm rambled for even longer. Anyway, so this is my dinner. I am going to stick this Thai curry in the microwave. I'm going to eat it over this rice that I've made that is drying out. It's gonna be tasty. I didn't cook it. My week has been insane. And I hope you all liked this video, and I hope if you guys are interested in this channel so far and what I'm going to try and do with it in the future, that you might consider subscribing. If you didn't like it, don't subscribe. Gonna be honest. Not worth your time, not worth my time. But yeah, if you're interested, like and subscribe, no pressure. Like I said, if you're interested in seeing maybe some more like small things and little things that I'm doing around the house, stuff like that, check out my Instagram. It's my ADHD lifestyle. If you want to talk to me about your experiences with ADHD, or even like things you might want to see me talk about on this channel or how I handle it, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm kind of an open book. I spend all of my time in my house with my phone in my hand. I play a lot of video games. I'm not doing much else. Feel free to contact me. I'd love to hear from you all. And thanks.